The worst type of friend to have is a male-centered friend.
The worst kind of friend is a male centered friend. When a woman is male centered, when she has not a centered man, and she is your friend, that is the worst friendship ever. Do you all agree? Please let me know down in the comment section because this is the conversation that we are having in today's video. Male centered friendship. Have you ever had any male centered friend? Let us know how it worked out, what happened. Just, share your thoughts in the comment section. Women are discussing how terrible it is to have male centered women around you. For example, when you have male centered women around you, when you're together, all they talk about is men. And that's very exhausting. If you've decentered men and you're living your life, if you've 100% decentered men, you don't want to have conversation based on all men. I'm not saying you don't talk about men, but having conversation all of the time, talking about men, is very boring. And most of the time, if you're with a male-centered woman, they always want to seek men validation in the sense that when you guys go out, they always want to, make their happiness around men. If no man comes to meet them, there's a problem. They always want to look around for men. Their mind is, oh, man. Like, it's so annoying. And they are dangerous in the sense that they can sell you out to a man. When men want, men that grape women, when they've been planning it and all of that, most of the time they were helped by a friend. They were helped by the mom. So it might not just be your friend, your age group, might be somebody older or even younger. So far they are male centered, they can sell you out. They can sell you out in a dangerous way. Two men. Let me show you some interesting videos of women discussing about male-centered friendship, and we'll come back and talk about it.
The worst type of friend to have is a male-centered friend. A woman that's always worried about a man, what he doing, how he doing it. Girl, we can always talk about your goals. We can
Yeah.
always talk about your degree, what class you need to finish your degree or to get your master's, or
Mm-hmm.
if you want to navigate into another career. We can always talk about your kids, what you want for them. Um, we can also talk about taking some trips. But talking about a man all day, I can't do it. I can't do it. I got better stuff to talk about, better stuff to do. Right now I'm out running errands, making sure I have groceries in the house before my kids come home from school today so I can cook. Baby, I'm not that woman. I'm different.
Being friends with male-centered women is really scary because they will throw you in a pool at a pool party if it means getting negative or positive attention. I just saw that video on TikTok where the girl throws her friend, and I'm saying friend really loosely, in the pool. And I think the scariest thing for me is seeing the girl with the evil eye hype up the friend, twerking, dancing at this pool party. No one else is in the water, mind you. And while she's hyping her up, you don't even see how fast the shift happens, but it happens, and she throws her in the water with her phone in her hand, and then the friend is yelling, I can't swim. And instead of doing anything, the girl that threw her in backs up, like doesn't even help her out. And I just watched that video and I was like, you're gonna be thrown under a bus next. Like, literally, these women will put you in awful dangerous situations because they don't even think about themselves first, unfortunately. So if they're not thinking about themselves first, why the hell would they think about you first? They're male-centered, right? But also they have evil eyes because they think they're in secret competition with you. Like, you
Yeah.
getting attention doesn't take away attention from another woman, right? Secure women understand this, but if you ever meet a girl that wants to fight for a man's attention, walk away.
Maybe this makes me not a girl's girl, but one thing about me is I cannot be friends with male-centered girls. If we're friends and our hangouts are just centered around us just talking about men, respectfully, I can't do it. Spray. If we're out at the bar, the club, whatever, and your mood and whether we had a good time or not is determined by how many men talked to you that night or if men came up to you, whatever, it's not gonna work, babe. If you're continuously putting yourself in harm's way or just like compromising situations to go be with men or whatever, I don't think that's like quirky or it's like it's for the plot, I think that's like behavior that you might want to look into, to be honest. Because I just think if you're out with your girls and you're just like running off to go be with some random man that like you just met, not only are you putting yourself in danger, but you're literally putting your girls in danger. And something else that I will just like always stand by is there is absolutely no reason for you to get a boyfriend and just like ditch your friends. So I've been with my boyfriend for almost 7 years now, and there is not a single friend who will tell you, yeah, like Beyonce just like ditched us, she started hanging out with me less as soon as she got her boyfriend. Because respectfully, you need your girls, you need friendship. Your boyfriend cannot be like the sole thing, the sole person in your life. I will say it is a totally different situation though if it's like it was a toxic friendship and your boyfriend helped you realize that like you're in a toxic situation with your friends. That's different. Kudos to him, good for you. But otherwise, think about it, babes. But just in general, I just feel like you should want more out of your friendships and just like getting together just to like center men and talk about men and think about how to get men. I just feel like there is just way more to life than that. And I simply will just never be able to trust you because I know you thrive off the validation of men. So what will you say about me, or what will you do to get that validation? I don't want to be there to find out. So I don't know about you guys, but I simply just cannot be friends with a girl who just like centers men. I can't do it.
I am a girl's girl through and through, and I have been looking for a best friend for like the past.
Okay, I don't know who this young lady is, but I had a chance to watch your entire video, and you seem like the sweetest girl ever, honestly, and you're so pretty. However, I gotta be honest with you, okay? This might hurt, but it's gonna help you. The reason why it's hard for you to find friends, like female friends, as well as sustain those friendships is because a lot of women are male identified. Yep, I said it. And you're gonna notice this as you get older. When those friends that you have get into a relationship, or if a man starts giving them attention, pay very close attention to that. Because sometimes what happens is that their personality, their entire existence and livelihood is going to be centered around that very man. And when that happens, you go from being a friend to a placeholder very quickly. I couldn't snap my finger, that was really awkward. But anyways, you go from being a friend to a placeholder. And when you're a placeholder, that girl is only gonna come to you, and she's only gonna wanna see you and hang out with you whenever there is drama, toxicity, and turmoil currently occurring in that relationship. You will be a therapist, you will be the comforter, and it's gonna happen repetitively. And if you find that it's happening on a repetitive basis, you need to take a step back and really analyze and assess where your friendship stands. And it's sad because I've had to do this with a few girlfriends, and it hurts knowing that you were only there just to be the therapist, nothing more. Just, I need you because my man and I are having issues. I don't know what to do. I can't find solutions, blah, 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 blah. And it becomes so repetitive to the point where it's really going to start to mess with you emotionally, and you're going to feel exhausted and depleted. And when that happens, like I said, that's where you need to assess where your friendship stands. And something I've noticed about male identified women who constantly feel the need to hyperfixate themselves around the concept of marriage, the concept of being with a man, or just men, period. I find that when they center those men, they have no time and they don't have the capacity to be able to center themselves. And what happens is that when they center those men, their lives are chaotic. It is filled with drama, it is just traumatic, and it's always resulting in turmoil. Like there's no middle ground and there's no peace. And mind you, I'm coming from a very observational perspective, and I'm also coming to you from experience. Women who center men, they don't know how to center themselves. Whereas women who do center themselves and remove themselves from the outcome of marriage, being a mom, and focus on other outlets where they can prioritize themselves, those women are so at peace. They are so at peace. They are able to find other outlets where they can not only center themselves, but also find opportunities to connect with other women who are also decentering men. And that's where you need to start vetting. Okay. I know there's a lot of advice on social media that talks about, oh, well, you got to vet this man. You got to ask him these questions, whoop de whoop, blah, 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 blah. But what's missing is that you also need to apply that same vetting energy into your friendships. And in moments like this, I become very grateful because I have a couple of girlfriends who have completely decentered men. And I gotta tell you, nothing feels more liberating and peaceful than being able to hang out with your girlfriend, sit down and talk about things that do not involve what a man did, what a man said, and just putting him on a pedestal to the point where that's all that you can talk about. We talk about goals, we talk about hobbies, we talk about where we want to see ourselves and things that we've undergone and the lessons that we've learned. And we can just go out and say, you know what, let's do this, or let's try something new, right? It just feels so good to have that. And I find that as a woman, when you center yourself, okay, that's when men want you. I mean, the real ones, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's when they really want you, because they're like, oh, snap, she's not putting me on a pedestal. She ain't chasing me around. She ain't acting all crazy, hoop-de-hoop-ha. She's got some good things going for herself. Like, let me chase her, because that's what they're supposed to do. Men are hunters by nature, okay? So baby girl, I've been in your shoes, and just know that it gets better, but there needs to be awareness, and there also needs to be a vetting process, okay? Because like I said, you always vet the men, but you don't vet the homegirls that you just met, right? So just kind of sit back, ask questions, and just kind of get an understanding of who these women are before you fully give yourself to the idea of a friendship, okay? And the good news is that just from what I'm seeing on social media and just from conversations that I've had with other women, women are also waking up and have realized that, look, me centering myself around this guy, me trying to find a husband, like, I need to just step the hell back and just focus on myself. And then that's when everything's going to fall into place. And that is something, girl, that I think you need to do. Take a step back and it'll all fall into place. Center yourself and let things happen organically. Okay?
Men-centered women will always compete with you because men-centered women all harbor a deep insecurity that they believe, at least on a subconscious level, can only be remedied by finding a man. And so finding a man becomes the most important part of their experience because they believe that that is going to finally be the thing that makes them feel fulfilled or happy or whatever. When I talk about security in this instance, I'm talking about liking who you are, knowing who you are, feeling comfortable with who you are. Those things are different to me than thinking you look hot one night. Like, I'm talking about the deep shit, So these women can show up confidently. They can show up in a way that would read as they think they rock. But I'm talking about a deep insecurity. And you can talk about insecure women without talking about men-centered women, but you cannot talk about men-centered women without talking about their deep insecurity. And so because finding a man is the most important thing for them, anything that gets in the way of that is a problem. And if that's a person, even a friend, like, it does not matter. They will eventually compete with you, resent you. And I think most of the time, unless you also harbor one of these deep insecurities, that relationship will dissolve, because women with these types of insecurities cannot exist in a relationship or a friendship with a deeply secure person in the ways that I'm talking about, because I think at first they're drawn to it because they want to be like that. No one wants to run around feeling like insecure. My friend and I were talking about this, and he was like, we're like a mirror for them. Like, we show them what it is they're missing, like where that kind of hole is. And if they're not ready to do the work or can't do the work at that time or whatever it may be, eventually having that mirror held up to them at all times and constantly being around somebody who is deeply secure in themselves, I think becomes infuriating. Again, at least subconsciously. And so they start to resent that person, and they might start to lash out in subtle ways. And I think by the time we start to pick up on the fact that there's some resentment happening on the other side, one of two things can happen. We can either try to people please and be like, what did I do wrong? What's going on? Or, and that will result in shit because you didn't do anything wrong. And so they don't want to confront answering that question because they know you didn't do anything wrong. They might not know why they're being an asshole. So they don't want to delve deep and figure out why it is they feel this way. So they just start to get pissy and like you start to be annoying, and then things can dissolve from there. Or you can be the person that says, I see the writing on the wall. I'm out. I'm not going to be treated like this by someone who's supposed to be my friend. And I do think that like these people can't have long-term, healthy, stable relationships with secure people because they will feel inevitably resentful. Even if they really like that person, even if they really admire that person, it becomes a situation where they feel less than, and they will start, if a man that they're interested in talks to you, or if they perceive that you look better than them, even if you objectively don't, or even if you don't feel like you do, they will feel they won't be happy for you. Subtle things, it doesn't feel good to be on the receiving end of this behavior. But anyway, men-centered women will compete with you. You cannot have a long-term relationship with one as a friend if you are deeply secure in the way that I spoke about at the beginning. It's just not possible.
The worst type of women to be friends with are women that are male-centered. Yes, I said it. Women that revolve their whole life around a man. Women that cannot get over a man. I don't care. I don't know how crazy you can be to be addicted over a man. Tell me why, as my friend, you come to me every other day and complain about what this man is doing. This man did this to me. He slept with my masseuse. He texted my sister. He texted his ex, "I love you." I mean, there are worst cases. I don't even want to mention it here. Now, you come to me and tell me all these things, crying, hurting. Sometimes you even go as far as hurting yourself. You go as far as hurting yourself. You give yourself injuries and marks on your body over this man. And you come to me. Sometimes you even bring your things to me and tell me, "Oh, I don't want to be with him anymore. I'm done." I mean, I'm married. I'm breaking up with him every other day. Like every day, every day we've broken up. Every day we've broken up. And after you say you've broken up, after a day, you don't even get to one day. You tell me I've broken up in the morning. You're crying seriously. You've cut yourself. And in the evening, people are besties. In the evening, people now want to use me to reconcile. I mean, I would understand if it happens once, twice, but if it happens every week you're breaking up with him, every week you're wounding yourself, every week something is wrong, I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to cut you off because in this day and era, I don't think anybody should be acting that way. I don't think anybody should be going through that. I don't think anybody should put themselves in harm's way. Because tell me why he's deadbeat. This boy is deadbeat. You know. He's texting all your friends. You know. He's doing everything. You know. I mean, you know the darkest and the darkest and the darkest. Every time you go to his house, there's something you unveil. Then you come back to me. I've broken up with him. I'm done. You call him names. I, as your friend, I will join you to call him names. You're my girl. I'm your girl. I will join. See, I don't even like him. Then you still go back to him again. Nah, you're worthless. And yes, you look like a very, very big clown. You look like a very, very big. You're literally clowning yourself.
Best friends that I've ever had didn't respect men, and you need that.
Male-centered women are not even your friends to start with. They'll put you in dangerous situations and they'll blame you if anything wrong happens. I don't even know if I'll call them friends, but acquaintances that say things like, if you go visit a guy in his house and you get raped, it's your fault. Like, you need female friends who don't think that men are more deserving of respect than you, only based on the account that they are men. I'm going to go one step further and tell you to avoid male-centered women.
Men-centered women are very dangerous. Aside from the fact that the relationship can be boring, the friendship rather with those kind of women can be boring. Aside from the fact that all you guys talk about is men, aside from the fact that they're seeking male validation, I feel like they are very dangerous. I feel like that is the height of it for me. They can be very dangerous because they are still men-centered. They still want men to see them. They still want to live or evolve their lives around men. They still want men in everything they do. That is why they are dangerous. Just like one of the videos was saying that the girl pushed a friend in the pool, and maybe she's trying to find attention or get attention, seek attention from a man. That is what they do. Some of them are going to actually fight you just because the man they like is coming to meet you. Some of them will even some of them can even fight you over a man just because they want to get a man attention, just want to get a man to see you. Some of them can spill your secrets. Some of them can lie. Some of them can deceive you just because they want to get the man to like them. Have you ever been in that kind of situation with a man-centered woman before and she's your friend? Like, to me, I have, and it's very annoying, to be honest. It's always very annoying when I'm with that person because what they want to talk about is men, men, men. And when you're trying to let them see the other side, they're not getting it. And that is very exhausting. Like, it's always very exhausting being around people like that. It's always very exhausting. And the fact that they are still centered, this is centered men in their lives, they forget that they themselves have lives, that they need to center themselves. They need to actually, prioritize themselves. So the only time they have is for them to center all their lives around men. So they forget that they themselves have lives. They forget that they have friendship. And just like one of the videos were saying that they actually do not strive in healthy relationship. Most men-centered women cannot, stay in healthy relationship. I saw a video of a lady saying that the best kind of women to be friends with are women that have discentered men. And yeah, I agree. If you're with a woman that have discentered men, if you are friends with a woman that have discentered men, I don't know, like, really, and compare it with being with a woman that is still men-centered, then you understand what I'm saying. You need to see the difference. You need to know the difference. And it's really difference in when you guys are talking, when you're out hanging out, when you're out discussing things. You need to see the difference. You need to see the difference when they are in a relationship. A man-centered woman, when they're in a relationship, they do not have your time unless they're having issues in their relationship. Unless probably they want to do a payback to their boyfriend or their husband. That is when they have your time. That's when they reach out to you. When everything is going smooth, every relationship is going smooth, they do not care. They do not want to be with you. They put you aside. Like, I now have a boyfriend, so I don't need you as my friend. But the ones that have discentered men do not decenter their friendship. They always still want to hold their friendship or the relationship they have with their friends very strong. Because of course you met your friend before your boyfriend. So and the thing is, most of the time men are not there forever, but your friends can be there for you forever. If you have a genuine friendship, they can be there for you forever, longer than a man can be there for you. So if you're really discentered man and you're in a relationship, yes, relationship is sweet, or relationship is sweeter if you have discentered men. Yes, I know. But then doesn't mean that you have to put your friends aside. So if you're friends with a man-centered woman, you will see that once they're in a relationship like this, in fact, they can even block you so that you're not going to snatch their boyfriend from there. What is your take on today's conversation about men-centered women and friendship around men-centered women? Let's have conversation in the comment section respectfully. It's your girl, Mara David, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.